What's up? Today we're going to go over two types of Magma-Blade builds. The Magma Sorcerer is centered around Int and Faith and Magma Sorceries. The Fire Monk build is centered around Strength and Faith with Incantations and Melee. Both builds incorporate the Magma-Blade. If you are starting a new character for this build, we recommend you visit our first hour of gameplay, link in the bio. The Magma-Blade is an extremely powerful weapon that you may not have heard of. The main reason is that drop chance is about 1%. The Gelmir Glinstone Staff is required for the sorcery build and buffs these spells. The drop chance is roughly 11%, which is a lot better than the 1%, but it only drops off of one mob, but it drops in the same place as the Magma-Blade, so you can farm them both at the same time. For the Fire Monk Incantation build, you can use the Erdtree Seal, which is looted in the Volcano Manor as well. Later on, you can use the Fire Giant Seal, but you can't obtain this until much later in the game. Let's start with the farming route for these items. First, we're going to want to go to the Volcano Manor. Follow this path, starting at the Prison Town Church. Jump down here to snag the Erdtree Seal and progress to the Church of Igle, or however you say it, to defeat the Godskin Noble. A quick note here is you can obtain many of the sorceries and incantations in and around the Volcano Manor, so I would recommend completing the Volcano Manor questlines before killing Rykard. Follow this path to the Godskin Noble. For this upcoming Volcano Manor fight against the Godskin Noble, note that he is weak to slash and bleed and can be easily put to sleep. We also recommend farming this area with an arcane/bleed build since they are weak to it, and the extra arcane will increase the drop chance, and trust me, you'll need it. This will be our starting point for the weapon farm. Use this elevator and run until you reach the balcony. Jump off and follow this path to the Virgin Abductor. And dodge left into this building. Follow this path and kill this man serpent, which is one of the enemies that can drop the item. Up here, you will see the elevator. Simply activate it once and you'll be able to utilize this elevator for the farming run from now on. Follow this path, kill this serpent for the second drop chance. Dodge past this lava whip guy, who doesn't drop a lava whip by the way, and open this door. And this weird one with a huge ball on his head will drop the staff. Fast travel and repeat this process again, but now you can take this path to the elevator instead. Note that the enemies you will be killing here are immune to fire, but susceptible to bleed, slash, and pierce. Again, we recommend an arcane bleed build for this. If you have progressed into the consecrated snowfield, I would recommend you obtain a silver scarab talisman to further increase the drop chance. Now that we've obtained our weapons, let's cover the rest. Starting with the Magma Sorcerer, these are the recommended talismans, but these are some excellent options as well. Here are the recommended weapons, but these are some strong additions as well. These are the Magma Sorceries. Gelmir's Fury does an extreme amount of AoE damage. Magma Shot is a great range spell that is chargeable, but I tend to stick to Rykard's Rankar, which is not chargeable but seems to be a stronger alternative. Roiling Magma shoots what is essentially a magma bomb. If the bomb hits someone directly, it does not explode but does a pretty decent amount of damage. However, you can shoot this bomb and it will act like a sticky grenade and attach itself to floors and walls. After some time, it will explode and do a tremendous amount of damage. You can charge this spell to increase the explosion delay, radius, and damage. This spell can be used while stealthed, and enemies will basically walk to it suspiciously and blow up. It's pretty great. If you know you'll be focusing sorceries, you can dual wield the staffs to buff them even further. I do also recommend you use Flame Grant Me Strength, and you can use any unupgraded seal to cast it. Your weapon scales off of Strength more than Faith for melee, but it appears the Ash of War scales more from Faith, which is primarily what we use for this build. Since this is a build that is best a little later in the game, I'll go over some of the late game stat progression. At level 75, your attributes should look something like this. At level 125, like this. And at 175, something like this. After soft capping Int and Faith at 80, you can start throwing points into Strength, and this build will be fully polished. Next, we'll go into the Fire Monk build. These are the recommended talismans, but these are some excellent options as well. Here are the recommended weapons. These are the Fire Monk Incantations, but these are the main incantations that I use. Catch Flame and Melee is going to be your bread and butter for this build. Catch Flame is quick to cast in succession and is faster to cast in between your dodges than Melee. It can also be cast while jumping or sprinting. Surge of Flame does an okay amount of damage, but sees more use in open world than against bosses. What's nice about this is that you can dodge out of it without any delay, as if you weren't even casting. This makes it usable in most encounters. Additionally, it staggers enemies pretty well. It's pretty great. Whirl of Flame passes through enemies, but for large bosses it has the potential to hit multiple times in one cast, making it an ideal choice against larger bosses. Fire's Deadly Sin does even more damage, but ignites yourself, which deals a small amount of damage over time. I have died to this a few times, which is disappointing, but it looks pretty fucking epic, so I don't know, maybe it's worth it. Also, because of the damage over time, you can't use items like the Ritual Sword Talisman, so keep that in mind. I do also recommend you use Flame Grant Me Strength as a staple to your rotation. At level 75, your attributes should look something like this. At level 125, like this. At level 175, something like this. This will be a little simpler than the sorcery build since most of your damage comes from faith, and then strength will build up your melee damage. That pretty much wraps up today's video. Check out our sorcery comparison to see how the Magma Sorcerer ranked. Our incantation comparison is coming soon as well, so if you haven't already, please like and subscribe, and as always, thank you for watching.